before we get started with today's episode, if you could please subscribe to Show Me STL, and that way you're ahead of the real estate curve. Now, if you should have questions, whether it's buying, selling, or building wealth through real estate, please drop those in the comments below. I'm happy to answer them. And without further ado, let's get started with today's episode. Hello, I'm Zachary, and this is Show Me STL Podcast. And so, first episode, I want to talk to you about what this series is all about, what you can expect from the podcast. Again, my name is Zachary Jones. I am currently a real estate consultant, a certified author, and most importantly, a father. And I created this as a way to help make the process of learning about real estate a little bit more digestible, a little bit more educational, and then easier for others to obtain for themselves that wish to do so. Let's get into my why first, because I don't feel like you can ever trust a person until you understand why they're doing something. My whys are three individuals. Josiah, who is my oldest, currently a college student navigating life and chasing golf dreams, grades pending. Then you have Xavier, who is my 11-year-old, technologically very gifted, has very high expectations. We're currently working on getting the work ethic to match those high expectations. And then there's Lyric. Lyric is fearless. She is 5 going on 25, and she is the princess. These three are my why. They're why I wake up and go to work as hard as I do. And so, again, certified real estate agent for the last 4 years, sold over 70 properties, wrote a book, Top 100 in my brokerage, Caldwell Gundaker, which is a prestigious firm in the St. Louis area. We want to talk about the dream of home ownership and how my journey started and has now evolved into this part. At the time, I was newly married and I had dreamed of owning a first home. I had a little boy on the way that would have been Xavier and wanted that house to call our own. And the process I thought would be simple, similar to buying a car, because prior to getting into real estate, I was in the automotive industry. And I was very blindsided as to how much the process was not similar. Totally different experience. And so I was consistently outbidded. I was ill-informed. I didn't have clear guidance from my realtor about what I was doing wrong or what I could do better to improve my chances other than to just spend more money. I didn't know what pre-qualified versus pre-approval meant and how that looked in terms of someone that is listing their homes viewed that information. I didn't know how much money I needed to save. I didn't even know what questions to ask to better position myself when looking at a home or finding myself in negotiations or under contract, what my options were, right? And so it was a very low point. It ultimately ended with me moving into, at the time, my mother-in-law's basement for almost 1.5 to 2 years. So picture this, mid to late 20s, newly married, new baby, and in the basement. I was very frustrated and felt stuck in just a very low feeling. And again, the process of buying a home took me almost 2 years. So now, turning point, I knew that there had to be a better way. And the stop and go process was a very emotionally draining. And as someone in sales, I understood that this current system was broken. And so how I go about getting into the real estate industry, I actually sold several real estate agents in a row, and they really pushed me into considering it. But there was one guy, and his name was Ryan Zimmer, who was actively still selling in the St. Louis area, and also my colleague at Caldwell Gundaker. It really pushed and held me accountable to pursue getting the real estate license. And I did. And once I accomplished it and then sat under the learning tree for a bit, the amount of information that I found out was overwhelming at first. But from it, I started really cutting my teeth and learning the business and the processes inside and out, the verbiage, and getting clarity and communicating effectively and educating clients. And so then my mission became very simple. I want to remove as many of the pain points in the buying process as I can. And so from doing so and taking those first couple of years in real estate to learn and to really just observe, I was able to build a better experience for my clients. I constantly sought client feedback, questions that they found were helpful versus not so much, things that they wish they would have known prior to than after, and really began cultivating a smoother buying journey. People were struggling just like I once was. And again, there's no like A to Z path that's the same for everybody. Everybody's got a different story, a different experience, a different income, different goals, things that they're going to like. And so it became just about repetition and finding the commonalities and how to go about making the experience smooth. And so as I entered last year, I released my very first book, which is why did I have a blank? But we're not editing anything out because this is authentic. It became how to go about listing your home effectively, efficiently, and profitably, and managed and closed is the name of the book. For those of you that are interested, it is on Amazon at this current time. Feel free to go check that out. I am also going to share with you that I am currently in the process of putting the finishing touches on my second book, which is going to be offer accepted. And it's going to provide buyers an outline of how to go about purchasing a home from A to Z, right? And giving you some guidelines and plans to help execute that goal in today's market and win. Because ultimately, why else are you tuning in right now and watching this? It's because you want to go in with an advantage to come out and get what it is that you want. And so I'm very excited about this because it's the next step in terms of helping the next person. And so what you can expect is you're going to expect education beyond transactions. You're going to expect real conversations, real stories with real solutions, right? And that's what this is all about. So for me, Show Me STL in a nutshell is real people, real homes, and real game about how to go about buying a house in the St. Louis market. And so topics. So we're going to be in about 8 episodes. I promise I have zero interest in having those hour-long discussions because attention spans are not what they once were. Everybody's got something to do. So everything should be kept to 30 minutes and under. So that way it's just direct information that you can utilize effectively and go on about your day. So one of the episodes is going to be 50K and under income and still purchasing a home, and a testimonial by a very special person to me. We're going to talk about renting versus buying, pros and cons. We're going to talk about buying an investment property. And I have a guest that will be joining me who has been doing it in the St. Louis market for over 30 years and has been super successful in doing so. We're going to talk about the importance of staging, and I'll be having a staging company sit down with me and providing you with some insights of their perspective and how the business is changing post-COVID and how staging plays a role for those that are looking to list their home, as well as what you should be looking for if you're on the other side of the aisle and you're looking to buy. Other topics are going to be down payments and closing costs. We're going to talk about the first time home buyer journey in a recent couple that just closed on their home here for the Christmas season. And they're going to provide their testimony as to what took place in their experience. And we're going to highlight some STL lifestyle areas and local gyms in the area. And then we'll close out with offer accepted, which again is going to be my new book. And we'll get into some details for the next season, because real estate is really like a tree, right? There are so many branches. There's buying, selling, investing, the lifestyle, the education, and we're going to explore them time and time again. And we're going to get through all the different little areas of it. So I kind of talked about what you can expect from me, but it's got to be mutually beneficial for both parties. So let's talk about what I can expect from you. I'm going to expect you to ask questions. There is no such thing as a stupid question. I know you hear that and you're like, yeah, right, Zach. But seriously, if you have a question, please ask it. You've never done this before. right? So that there's a certain amount of anxiety that comes with that and nervousness. And the only way to help quell those emotions is to ask questions. And so I have those answers. And if I don't have the answers, I'm more than equipped to go get them. Share your experience. If I touch on something and you have a totally different experience or something that maybe I didn't even discuss, and you had an experience and you want somebody else to kind of get a heads up about it, please share that with me so that way I can highlight that. This one is a little bit standard. Everybody asks you to do it, right? Subscribe, like, and share. I might be adding the share one, but please do it because it's going to help the next person. Give honest feedback. If there's something that I presented and you didn't feel like it was clear and concise, let me know that so that way I can make sure to better fine tune my communication style to make sure it's in a digestible form. That's not to say that I'll always do that, but occasionally something I might think is clear, you might not think is clear. I sell several houses a year. You're buying your very first house. So we're from two different experiences. So definitely give me a little bit of grace. And if you don't understand something, reach out, let me know so that way I can adjust accordingly. I value transparency. It allows for a lot of growth. So please be direct with me. You're not going to offend me unless you're just trying to be outright rude. And which then this podcast probably isn't for you. So on the next episode, we're going to be talking to a very special individual that bought a home. It makes under 50K a year. And she's going to be sharing her testimony about what that process looked and felt like. You can expect my episodes to drop every Tuesday, 6 a.m. for those of you that get up and have to drive to work and the podcast time is your time before you get to work. I want to make sure I get to you at the same time. If you want to wait till you've had your coffee, I totally understand. This will be ready and available for you. There is going to be a YouTube video as well. So you'll have access to see me if you don't want to just hear me or vice versa. But again, the goal is to keep all the episodes under 30 minutes. So that way it's straight to the point and effective time management for you. So in closing, remember, you deserve clarity, confidence, and a place to call home. And my job is to help you get there. And that is what Show Me STL is all about. I'll see you next Tuesday.